We'll continue with the C problem for example 1. Now it's the same basic premise as what we did in A and B, except the difference is now they're giving us 3 different numbers they want us to change that variable into and then solve the problem out. So they've got 6 and then parentheses n plus 2 in parentheses. Again, that would imply multiplication because there's no sign in there. And then minus 4, and they want us to work with that for n of 5, 6, and 7. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to change n into each one of these numbers that they're giving you here, which is what you can see they've done in this first row. As you can see, they're doing this with the table method, not that it necessarily needs to, it's just kind of a nice organizer. So they changed n into 5, and then the second one n into 6, and then the last one n into 7. Now as far as the solving process goes, the solving process then will, again, because there's multiple operations there, require us to use the order of operations. And you can see that's why they're saying parentheses in the next column, because where it says parentheses, that would be the first step in the order of operations. So in this first row, they've done the 5 plus 2, which is changing into 7. The second row, they've done the 6 plus 2, which changes into 8. And in the final row, the 7 plus 2, which changes into 9. Now, as you can see, the next box there says multiply, and the reason it says multiply is because that would be the next step in the order of operations. Remember, order of operations after parentheses would be exponents, but there are no exponents, and then multiplication and division in the same step. Well, there's no division, but there clearly is multiplication to do. So in this first one, they did the 6 times 7, which is why it's changed to 42. In the next one, they've done 6 times 8, which is changed into 48. And in the last one, they've done the 6 times 9, which changes into 54. And at this point, I could say keep using the order of operations, but there's only one thing left to do because there's only one symbol left. So now they're going to subtract. They're going to do the 42 minus 4, which is how they get 38. They're going to do the 48 minus 4, which is how they get 44. And they're going to do the 54 minus 4, which is how they're going to get the 50. We're going to use the same basic premise in later chapters to create a table when we want to make a graph with the equation of a line, for instance. We can do it really with any equation, no matter what it is we're actually looking at. Okay, let's continue on and go ahead and take a look at example 2 here. Now, in example 2, as you can see, we are actually doing the same thing once again. The difference is now, instead of just having one variable in a problem, they're actually giving us 2 variables in a problem. So we're evaluating the expression for the given values of the variables. And in the A question, it's 4x plus 3y. And again, the book is just telling us that they want us to have x equal to 2 and y equal to 1. So that's what we're going to do here. So we're going to do 4 times 2. Again, I'm changing x into 2 because that's what they told me to. And I'm changing y into 1, again, just because that's what they told me to do. Now, order of operations would tell me to do parentheses first, there are none. Exponents next, there are none. Then multiplying and dividing. And as you can see, we do have 2 multiplications to deal with here, the 4 times 2 and 3 times 1. 4 times 2 is, of course, changing into 8. 3 times 1 is, of course, changing into 3. And then we're going to add those 2 things together. 8 plus 3 is going to change into 11. And that would be it. That's all you have to do. Again, it's not really dramatically different than anything else we've done. It's just 2 variables in the problem instead of 1 like we saw in example 1. Let's look at the B question. 9r minus 2p for r equals 3 and p equals 5. As you can see, this is a very similar question to the A example. The only real difference is instead of having an addition sign plastered in the middle, this one has a subtraction sign plastered in the middle. But we can do all the same basic steps. We just have new values to substitute. So I'm going to change r into 3, again, because simply they told me to, and p into 5, again, because they told me to. So I've got 9 times 3 minus 2 times 5.